What's up, Ryan? Welcome to Build with DIMO. I'm really excited to get to talk to you today a little bit about what we're putting together between DIMO and Chaiz, learn a whole bunch about your background in the industry, and really just hopefully educate and inform people about a really important part of the auto industry. So thanks for joining us with
Yeah,
DIMO
sure thing.
here, and hopefully you're excited to get into it.
Yeah, I am. Thanks for having me.
Cool. So Ryan, start us off with just a little bit about Chaiz. What is it that you guys do? And then we can get into how you got here and what are vehicle services contracts.
Yeah. So, in short, Chaiz is a comparison site for what's commonly known as extended car warranties. Technically, the what we sell and what you see advertised on TV is a vehicle service contract, but most people, the nomenclature is extended car warranty. So, we're the
Yep.
only comparison site for that product in existence.
Wow. So how did you why is that new and why is it taking so long for a comparison shopping site to pop up? I would have thought that that would exist already.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. I could give, well, first, my background's in mostly
Yeah.
car insurance. So I worked for about 6 years at Geico. Then I went over
Cool.
to a competitor in the space, which was a startup at the time, Esurance. I was there during the Allstate acquisition, so I was also an Allstate employee. And then prior to Chaiz, I was the head of marketing at the Zebra, which is a comparison
Mm.
site for mostly car insurance, some home insurance, and renters and the such. And a funny thing, kind of good luck ended up, well, bad luck at the time, and then kind of good luck now is my car actually broke down. I had a BMW with only 57,000 miles, and I pulled it into my garage one day, and there was a weird knocking sound in the engine. And I took it to my mechanic, and he said, "Yeah, that knock that you heard is what we call the knock of death. He said, your car
Oh
could break
no.
down on the drive home, or it could last like another 1,000 miles. But your engine's completely shot. It's a problem with this make and model. It's gonna be about $10,000 to repair." I was
Wow.
like, "Holy cow!" And then he looked at me and he said, "Do you have an extended warranty on this thing?" And I said, "No. I always thought they were kind of scammy and overpriced." And so I kind of learned my lesson the hard way. So it was like bad luck at the time, but it was good luck because I ended up founding Chaiz with two of my
Yeah.
partners. Um, so yeah. But then I had so when I was shopping around for my next car, I found the shopping process was inherently broken. I was going to multiple sites trying to get quotes, and you see like Car Shield advertised on TV very heavily, and you couldn't even get quotes online. They take all your information
Mm.
and they don't even present you with a price. They want to get you on the phone
And
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 hard
why is
sell.
that? Like why are is it just that like they haven't been able to modernize? Why is it such an antiquated process?
Yeah, so the history of it in brief is the way that this product was sold was only through dealerships, and
Okay.
still today about 95% of them are sold either through dealerships or on the phone, so in person
Yeah.
type. um, and a bunch of people that were, the salespeople at the car dealerships, they make a lot of money on those. They actually make more money selling the warranty than the car themselves. And they said, well, a lot of
Wow.
people that say no, their car's still eligible. Why don't we just call them on the phone and try to
Hmm.
sell them after the fact, after they leave the dealership? And that kind of spun out into these call centers popping up, like a Car Shield, for example. And they started selling it over the phone. But basically, those are the only two ways to buy it until we came around. And there's a few others that you could actually buy online, but it's way past, way beyond. It hasn't modernized at all. Yeah.
And just purely because it was a good way of doing things, people were making money, and like if it ain't broke, kind of mentality.
Yeah, it's kind of if it's not broken, no need
Right.
to fix it. And so they were making a lot of money. Their providers were happy. The back insurers were happy, and they said, "Let's just keep doing it this way."
Yeah. So break it down for us, like vehicle services contract, and then we'll get into a little bit of some of the. I want to get into the Shea stuff, but like, what is like in the simplest terms? What does that mean? What does that look like for most people who are buying one of these pretty popular products?
Yeah. So when you buy a new car, there's a factory warranty on it. That's where the term warranty comes from. So if anything breaks
Yep.
down within like a 3 year period, usually 36,000 miles, you could take it back to the dealer and they'll fix it for free, nothing out of pocket. However, if you pass that 3,000, that 36,000 miles or that 3 years, your car breaks down, it's pretty much on you to pay for it. So what an
Hmm.
extended warranty does is basically protects the car up until a certain mileage after that factory warranty breaks down. So if like in my case, if I had that extended warranty, that $10,000 bill I had for the BMW, it would have been
Would have been
paid
covered.
for the warranty provider instead of out of pocket.
And you mentioned that sometimes people view these products as scammy. Um, like, what is the typical? I mean, is there a mathematical equation here that's like, what kind of car do you have, and is this a good deal or not a good deal? Or is it a little bit more? Well, kind of depends on who you are and the driving conditions and things like that. Like, how do these
Yeah.
break down in terms of value to the consumer?
So unlike insurance where the price that you pay is based on your driving habits, the price
Hmm.
that you get for the warranty or the extended warranty is all based on the make and model.
Yeah.
So more expensive
Wow.
makes like a BMW, Mercedes are going to be more expensive to repair, so the price is going to be more for that warranty. Um, the scamminess notion of it is because you might know, and people listening to this probably have gotten like the robocalls before. They get a lot of direct mail and say like, your extended warranty is expired, like renew this thing. So the whole call center and the robocalls have kind of put a dark cloud on the industry.
Yeah.
And most people don't know this, but generally when at a dealership or through these call centers, they mark up that price about 300 to 400%. So we
Wow.
don't do that. We work directly with the providers and pass that savings on to the consumer.
So what typically happens, let me get this straight. What typically happens is I'm a consumer. I've just bought a car, maybe it comes off warranty. My data gets out there into the dataverse. Somebody in a call center picks it up, tries to sell me something at a 300% markup potentially.
Yep.
And it feels that the look and feel ends up being very a little sleazy on me. Like I'm getting this call from somebody I don't know, they're selling me something at a much higher price, but the reality is the warranty might be a good move for me because I can get it if I actually got it at the price that it's worth on my own terms and not without
Yeah.
somebody chasing me. It might be a good deal.
Yeah, you got it exactly right. Yeah, there's databases out there that the call centers know when the factory warranty falls off, and so
Yeah.
they'll mail you, and if you look really closely, they'll say like, oh, your Audi warranty is expired, but if you look closely, it's not underwritten by Audi; it's some third party warranty provider, and that tactic's been around for a while. But it is a really good product to have, and like my
Yeah.
case, I would have saved $10,000 out of pocket. So as long as it's marketed and sold the right way, it's very beneficial. I mean, you think about it, it's generally the number one or number two highest, most valuable asset that someone has. So not having
Yeah.
protection for it if it breaks down kind of doesn't make sense.
It's kind of funny because I've been co-founder of DIMO now for about 3 years, but I certainly would not have considered myself a car guy before DIMO, and I think to a certain extent I'm LARPing as a car guy now. Um, I grew up in New York City. I didn't get my driver's license until I was 19. Like it wasn't really around cars. And now that I own a car and its warranty is just expired. So if I was picking up my spam calls, I bet somebody would be selling me a used car warranty. Um, it it is the kind of anxiety that I have of like not being a true expert. Like if something goes wrong with my car, like how much could I be out of pocket? It is a little bit scary to me as a consumer.
Yeah. And if you think about it, so at Chase, we have like two buckets of consumers. It's the
Hmm.
consumer that can't afford a major unexpected breakdown. So
Right.
60% of Americans don't have $1,000 in the bank to
Yeah.
afford a breakdown like that. So if your car breaks down, you're not getting to work, you're not getting to paid.
Right.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, it's the car owners that have Land Rovers, which are notorious for breaking down,
Yep.
Mercedes, and when they break down, they're super expensive to repair. The good thing with our product too is it gives you peace of mind. So even if you have
Yep.
a lot of people that have, they do have the money in the bank to fix that car, but in your situation, in my situation, that check engine light pops up, like I freak out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to go haggle with six different mechanics and see who's ripping me off. with this
No one's
product, you
looking
basically,
forward to that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's awful, and you're gonna get like kind of ripped off, and something else is gonna be broken that you didn't even take the car there for.
Yep.
But with our product, you could take it to any mechanic, and it's paid for and handled, so no money out of pocket.
Cool. So you worked at these insurance companies, you worked at a comparison website. Um, tell me about like, starting Chaiz and how you like got the platform started and then like where you're at today.
Sure. Yeah. So my co-founder Redo, I had been connected for him for a while, and I kind of knew he was getting into the warranty space, and he
Mm-hmm.
was kind of trying to share notes with me on like my experience at the Zebra and comparison type stuff. And then it was just serendipity, I guess. But that's when my car broke down. So I was like, yeah, and I went through that shopping process and I found it was awful. So I said, yeah, why isn't there like a Zebra for warranties? Uh, as I talked to Redo some more, he ended up getting an investor that owns car dealerships throughout the U.S. And that was our first angel investor. He wrote our, the check to get the product
And
built
what
and
did they
everything.
see? What did this dealership, nationwide dealership see
Well,
in what you were
yeah,
building?
I mean, the dealer has been great. The dealership owner has been great because he was the one that says, "Yeah, I make more money selling this thing than the actual car itself." And most of his dealerships deal in used cars, and those cars don't have any type of protection. So he was able to sell a lot of those, and he was just telling us like someday this is going to evolve, and someday it's going to go online. Most of the people I
Yep.
work with one provider. Most dealers work with one provider. It's take it or leave it pricing. If they say no, they're gone. I don't make any money off that person. So what if there was a way for them to compare, get multiple pricing, and then kind of like self-select it so they know exactly what they're getting? It's like that's the way of the future. So he bought in.
Makes sense to the dealer. Like if I only have one product to offer, if it's not a fit for the customer, I'm out of luck. But if I have a
Totally.
menu of different options, now I have maybe different price points, different choices for the customer.
Exactly.
More likely to close the deal. Cool.
Yeah, yeah. So that first check from the angel investor got us kind of up and running, get the product up to speed. We have a third co-founder too that kind of runs the technical and product stuff. His name's Phil. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
us three got together, and then in November 22, we launched the actual customer facing product. And
Sweet.
since then, it's been great. We raised pre-seed last June, and since
Nice.
then we 10x growth. So the
Wow.
customers, they like they're used to this. It's funny that like
Sure.
this hasn't evolved because they're used to it. They compare with insurance. They compare on Kayak and Expedia for travel, and so like they're used to it. They get to see the pricing. We're super transparent on what's covered, and because it is kind of a complicated product, they don't know exactly what's
Yeah.
going to be covered and what's not. So we put it all online, and we cover over 500 components in the car to tell them exactly what's going to be covered in the case of a breakdown.
Transparency and openness that help the consumers. That's what we're all
Yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah.
Cool. So, I think we met at the Detroit Auto Show like a
We did.
year and a half ago or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
We've been talking for a while, and we're excited to get to launch Chaiz on DIMO here. Let's talk a little bit about data and where vehicle data fits into the world today, and then maybe even give us a little bit of like a future look and thought of like where could data go. I mean, imagine you've taken the vehicle services contract and made it much more transparent. If we can marry that with vehicle data, like how can consumers benefit, how can businesses benefit, how do we make a better ecosystem for all?
Yeah, I mean, we're super excited about the partnership too because you guys have all of that data and it'll help us a lot with a multitude of things. So first, we need that data, the make and model,
Yep.
mileage, state, to get pricing. So we're also the only site out there that you don't need PII to get a quote. So we just need make,
Sweet.
model, state, mileage,
So all
and
the
year.
privacy worried drivers out there that maybe are curious about a warranty but don't want to give up their PII because they're worried about getting a phone call. It's just make, model, year, odometer, and state, and cool, you can get quotes directly from the contract providers.
Directly from our providers. Yeah. Um, But yeah, the additional data that you have is also super interesting for us too, because like tracking mileage is a big thing for us. So I mentioned um, factory warranties have like that 3 year, 36,000 miles. The extended warranties
Yeah.
also have that. And so
Okay.
some people that aren't super close to their driving habits, they might buy a 36,000 mile contract from us. But if they're driving very heavily, we'll be able to reach out to them proactively and say, hey, your contract's about to expire, not due to the time period, but due to your driving behavior. So do you want to renew it or do you want to get a new contract? So that's super helpful. The connectivity of your tool too, in terms of like car health, is super
Yeah.
beneficial as well, because we don't, in some sense, it's we don't have to worry too much about like the underwriting process, because we're not the underwriter, we're not the back end
Yep.
insurance company, but we want to make sure that the providers that we have, we're sending them good customers. And
Yep.
so if there's a pre-existing condition, that's bad for them. One, they'll probably deny the claim, and it just looks bad that we're sending them all these people with pre-existing conditions. So having like a
Sure.
connectivity with the car's health, we'll be able to weed out those bad actors.
Yeah. We can get to a world where, yeah, we're able to just basically provide the good, the healthy cars. And I think, I talk to people about this a lot, whether it's in the insurance use case or in selling their car for more money. And I think there's a perception from users, from drivers, that like there's maybe a 50-50 chance that like I'm on the good side. I'm on the like my car is pretty healthy and I would get more money out of it, or my car is not as well taken care of as it could be and I would get less. But when you talk to these providers, when we talk to insurance companies, when we talk to used car marketplaces, it really doesn't work like that. Mostly they're underwriting the risk of buying one bad lemon in 10 or 20, 30 cars, and spreading that risk out amongst all of the other cars. So like for most people, you're going to get a better deal when you're sharing some data, because you're not going to have the lemon most
Yeah.
likely. And it's not about who's what side of the 50-50 line you're on. And I don't know if you guys see the same in the underwriting in these vehicle service contracts, or if it's going to be a little bit different there.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of both.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we definitely want to weed out the bad actors for sure, but we could also help out the consumers by sharing that data too. So if
Yep.
there's a big thing in the insurance world of being over-insured, like buying coverage that's like
Mm-hmm.
way too expensive for what your actual driving needs are. It's the
True.
same thing with warranties as well. So if you buy a contract that is a 60,000 mile contract and you're barely driving the thing, we'll be able to tell that through the tool and reach out to them and say, hey, you're overpaying. Let's get you on a contract that is much more
Right.
cost effective, but fits you and your driving habits a lot more.
I think that's the dream, is like, can you give me a totally customized plan for how I drive my car, on everything from, my warranty to my insurance, um, like to how I pay for gas or electricity. Like
Yeah,
I could have a completely customized experience based purely on how I drive.
that was always the dream in the insurance world too. Is that really usage based pricing?
Yeah.
So you're not overinsured or underinsured. I mean, the worst thing is being underinsured too.
Yeah.
You get in an accident and then there's not enough coverage there to pay for everything, and then you're in court and getting sued. But
Mm,
yeah, it's the same thing with warranties too. Usage based fee. I mean, we could also think about if someone has a car that's in they take care of it and it's in great health, and they just want the peace of mind of the contract in case something happens. We could also send little signals and say, hey, like your car is through like history, and say like your car is technically like not going to break down. The probability of it breaking down in the next 6 months is probably pretty low. You could probably get on a lower plan with more
yep.
exclusions. So we could do right pricing in the warranty space as well.
To what extent do these vehicles service contract providers, to what extent do they factor? I mean, it sounds like the make and model is a huge, and the year is a huge factor. And are they looking at things as granularly as like, well, we know that a Nissan Altima, when it hits 88,000 miles, it's like the probability of this issue spikes, or like starts to really grow. I mean, how granular are they getting from an analytics perspective, or is it really just like very general, this make model year has more problems than this other one.
Yeah, they're not as granular as an insurance underwriter because there's just more risk there. But yeah, they generally
Yeah.
do it in like mileage buckets. So if you
Okay.
buy a contract from us with an 80,000 versus 88,000, the pricing is really not going to change. But 80 versus 120, it'll
Right.
change. It's mostly the make and model, and that's based on how much it costs to repair the vehicle.
Right. Right. Is there anywhere as a consumer I could go? Like I'll keep bringing it back to my own car. I've got a Toyota RAV4, 20,000 miles on it. Like, is there any place I can go to see the forecast and see like, hey, at 50,000, you're more likely to encounter these issues outside of the just like general maintenance prescription of, what you should change, your general maintenance intervals.
Yeah, there are a couple of data sources out there. I'll give a shout out to the car dealership guy on Twitter. He usually pulls
Oh yeah. Great.
interesting data on that. Um, there are a few things that we keep tabs on. Um, what's interesting? Well, one, it's the most expensive to repair a car that's ever been. I mean, cars are super expensive.
Mm,
That's why people are keeping them on the road for a lot longer. It's also the
yeah.
oldest age of cars there is. So, I mean, you could come to us and we'll have we actually could start tracking that sort of thing. Because we'll have through our platforms, we do ask make and model, and we get access to actually all the claims data.
Oh
We
wow.
in the future will be a good data source for knowing that type of thing. And it's
Awesome.
also it's interesting for users too that are like in the market for buying a car. You want to buy a car that is not going to break down too. So as we start
Right.
getting more and more customers to us, we have the claims data. We'll have it more than anyone because we're seeing so many people because of our multiple providers, and we'll be a good source of data for that in the future.
That's kind of one of the other things about the industry that I really hope that we can change over time is that I feel like so much of this really valuable insight is locked up with the enterprises as opposed to in the hands of users. And you talk to a car guy and they'll know like, oh, that model, there's particular issues with that. It's
Yeah.
a lot of any mechanic might be able to tell you those things, but to the average consumer, you don't know what those maintenance intervals in those buckets look like. And I think making that more transparent to users and allowing just a driver to find that information on their own rather than being surprised by it, or rather than finding it out in an indirect way from the cost of a warranty or something like that is super valuable. I mean, I want to buy a car that I'm not going to have to worry about very much. And I still might
Yeah.
add a vehicle service contract, but I generally don't want to have to like put up with a lot of maintenance. And it'd be nice to know which ones those are other than anecdotal, like show me the data.
Yeah, we're going to start building out more education type tools like that as well. We do ingest and look at search data like Google Trends because like Land Rover breakdowns is like a high one. And BMW actually is a high one
Yeah.
too because people search that a
Google
lot.
trend data, super interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and what we are envisioning too is someone comes to the site, we already have their make and model and their information. We could build out like a likelihood of breakdown factor and like a likelihood of
Mm,
costs. If you go to chaiz.com, we'll show you the averages for different breakdowns of like a transmission breakdown versus like electronic breakdown on certain things. We have the average of that. But where we do want to get, and to your point, we want to get more personalized. If you come through with like a Mazda 3 from 2012, we could show you like the likelihood of this breaking down and why you need this product and how much you could save out of pocket if there is an unexpected breakdown.
yeah. I am no data scientist, but my belief is that if you looked at the data and sliced it in enough ways, you could find all kinds of different trends that bubble up out of the woodwork, really, and define really what is going to make this a good deal or a not so good deal for a consumer. But um, that requires the data being open and available to somebody to do something with this. I'm glad that you guys are getting your hands on that.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, just as the industry has been pretty antiquated on how it's sold,
yeah,
they kind of keep the data pretty close to their chest. So yeah, our ethos and one of our pillars is transparency. So we want to get there and let people know exactly what they're
yeah,
buying and why it's useful for them.
cool. So Ryan, let's wrap up with some closing thoughts here. We're going to be bringing Chaiz warranties to DIMO users, 80,000 connected cars, maybe it's 40,000 drivers or so. what should they know about Chaiz and how your product works, how it works with DIMO, that that all of our drivers should know?
Yeah, well, one, I mean, our website, it's chaiz.com, chaiz.com. It's super simple. As we kind of pointed out earlier, you don't need PII. You just need some basic information about your car to get a quote. We'll give you those quotes in a couple seconds. With the DIMO integration, we already have some of that information. So it's a super seamless way to get a quote. And then you can buy completely online, which again doesn't seem novel these days and age, but it is with us. Our providers are all top rated. We show you and aggregate the third-party reviews, so you could actually look at their BBB review, their Trustpilot review, and so we aggregate all that information. And I do think probably some people are going to like see the headline of this podcast and see a topic on warranties, extended warranties, and you immediately go ugh. And in fact, it's kind of funny. I remember I was at my wife's Christmas party, and they're like, coworkers were coming up like, "Oh, this is Ryan. Ryan, what industry are you in?" And I was like, extended warranty, and you kind of gotta blush a little bit, but we're doing it the right way. And it is a very beneficial product to have, again, if it's sold at the right price and marketed the right way. We know through our relationships that they're marked up a ton, and people get you in the
Yeah.
there's a used car salesperson, they're getting you to buy the thing, and they got you in the box, and they're like, you got to get this warranty too. But you should do your research, and that's where Chaiz is a great place to do it. And we've got multiple providers again that are top rated, and you could self-select, and you could save a bunch of money. In fact, the average consumer with us saves about $1,700 versus dealerships or call centers.
Sweet. So as a
Yeah.
DIMO user, I can share my data with you securely, no PII, share my data in one click. You guys have my make, model, year, state, and odometer, and can serve me these these warranty options without the markup,
Yep.
and I can save a whole bunch of money and have peace of mind. Sounds like a good deal.
Yep. That's a win-win.
Cool. All right, last question, Ryan. Where do you see Chaiz going and growing to over the next couple of years?
Great question. Yeah. So we're really focused on the auto market right now. There are a lot of unprotected cars out there, and if they break down, a lot of people you just get in a financial bind because they can't afford it,
Yeah.
and they got to make sacrifices on other things like rent or something like that. So we want to make this product more of a commodity. We think everyone should have it, so we're really focusing on auto right now and trying to educate users that this product doesn't have to be bad, and there doesn't have to be a bad cloud around it. Like, there are companies like us that are doing it the right way, and you should have it, and it could save you a lot of money. So we're very focused on auto, but in the future, we're looking at getting into other products too, like RVs. We
Nice.
talked about boats a little bit. We've got some partnerships with home warranties companies. One of our investors also invested in Armadillo, so we've got a partnership with
Cool.
them. So we really want to be known as the comparison site for a lot of your high ticket assets.
Awesome. Well, Ryan, thank you for hopping on here. I'm really excited to launch this integration to all of our users, help them shop. I'm going to be shopping for a new used car warranty, as I'm out of my factory warranty right now. I can't wait to get one. My list of things to buy with all the DIMO partners we're going to be launching soon is I'm going to be testing every product in the auto industry. So it's going to be fun. But I really appreciate you joining on, and excited to build together some great new products.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and hope to see you again in person soon.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan.
All right, take care.